any worry going on in the WNBA executive offices, if there is no worry, oh, people aren't going to turn off, oh, people are still going to show up, if that was the thought that they were having up there in WNBA La La Land, well, now might be the time to hit the panic button. 48 hours after news hits that Caitlin Clark is injured and she'll be missing 2 weeks, the market has responded, and the market has told the WNBA,
no doubt that's about to happen. The WNBA teams that move their games, this is about to be catastrophic.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to WNBA Core. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. Today, I've got another super exciting and highly intriguing video lined up for you. If you consider yourself a true Caitlin Clark fan, you are definitely going to want to stick around and watch this whole thing until the very end. Before we jump in, show your support for the channel by typing CC 100% in the comments section below. I absolutely love seeing all the dedicated Clark supporters making their voices heard in the comments. Now, without taking up any more of your time, let's dive right into today's topic. The single biggest nightmare for the WNBA hierarchy has officially arrived. The collateral damage following Caitlin Clark's recent quadriceps injury is already looking completely catastrophic. Franchise management groups that previously relocated upcoming matchups to massive NBA-level arenas in order to accommodate her huge crowds are suddenly staring at the grim reality of thousands of unsold seats. Across social media, a growing wave of fans are choosing to boycott league broadcasts entirely, while others are actively putting their tickets up for resale and ditching their travel plans. What is your take on all this? Is skipping WNBA games out of loyalty to Clark taking things too far? Regardless of where you stand, this is an undeniable mess that nobody wanted to see unfold. To put this into proper perspective, average secondary market ticket prices for Indiana Fever games over the next fortnight have plummeted by a staggering 42% right after her injury diagnosis was made public, dropping to an average cost of $137. The timing could not possibly be worse for the WNBA office, though to be totally honest, they brought this entire storm upon themselves. Due to an unfortunate quad strain, Caitlin Clark, the singular force who single-handedly resurrected their television viewership and packed arenas across the country, is currently sidelined. Now, a league leadership structure that spent months attempting to minimize her individual footprint is about to get a harsh lesson on what business looks like without its main attraction. Looking at how this unfolded behind the scenes, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White initially confirmed that Clark will undergo a full medical reevaluation in 2 weeks. However, anyone who has ever dealt with or tracked quadriceps injuries knows that a 2-week timetable represents an extremely optimistic best-case scenario. Realistically, recovery usually trends toward the longer side, meaning we are likely looking at a window of 2 to 6 weeks. This is far from a minor setback. It is a legitimate physical injury that demands proper recovery time before she can safely step back onto the hardwood. This is precisely where the financial stakes get fascinating. Multiple organizations alongside league executives made massive financial investments betting on Clark's draw. The Washington Mystics moved their marquee fixture against Indiana over to a 15,000-seat venue in Baltimore. The Chicago Sky shifted their high-profile clash directly to the United Center. Meanwhile, the Dallas Wings scheduled their home date at the American Airlines Center, where the NBA's Dallas Mavericks play. These were huge organizational choices involving extensive promotional campaigns, extra venue staffing, heightened security protocols, and costly arena leasing agreements, all underwritten by the unmatched star power of one single player. In professional sports leagues like the NBA, franchise front offices are notoriously guarded regarding precise injury timelines. When team insiders announce a star player will be re-evaluated after 2 weeks, history tells us the actual absence often stretches much longer. Now, those same WNBA teams are being forced to confront what could easily become their most embarrassing attendance figures in years. Furthermore, fan sentiment on the ground is completely unapologetic. Supporters across online platforms are openly declaring that they intend to resell their tickets, cancel road trips, or completely ignore live broadcasts until Clark returns to action. One vocal fan posted that they were immediately selling off their Fever vs Mystics tickets because traveling all the way from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore makes zero sense without Clark taking the floor. Another fan shared that they plan to watch Fever games strictly on demand later in the evening just to deny the league live TV ratings. These are not isolated complaints from a few upset individuals. this is a coordinated backlash from a fanbase that feels their star has been consistently disrespected by the league establishment. Let's address the root cause of this widespread frustration. The current outrage extends far beyond just the setback of her physical injury. It stems directly from how the WNBA leadership and media ecosystem have treated her since the moment she was drafted. From day one, there has been a bizarre tug-of-war between the league's eagerness to capitalize on her massive revenue engine and their subtle attempts to curb her dominance over the narrative. Players, coaches, and league pundits repeatedly insisted that media coverage should be spread evenly and that other stars deserved equal spotlight. But the flaw in that logic is simple: you cannot build your entire commercial strategy around a generational star and then act shocked when her temporary absence leaves a massive void. When Clark is healthy and playing, the WNBA experiences historic television viewership. Broadcasts suddenly pull over 1 million viewers for games that historically averaged barely 200,000. Venues capable of holding 20,000 fans sell out instantly for teams that previously struggled to fill 5,000 seats. Yet, rather than fully embracing this unprecedented boom, league representatives often appeared uncomfortable with how thoroughly Clark controlled the narrative. Instead of openly acknowledging that a single individual was generating the vast majority of this economic explosion, there was a persistent push to attribute the growth to a collective effort. Now, they are about to face the cold truth of what ratings and attendance figures look like without her presence on the floor. The circumstances surrounding the injury itself also raise serious concerns. A lot of observers are openly asking whether Clark was pushed back onto the court too quickly after experiencing quad discomfort during the preseason. In a league operating on a condensed summer schedule where physical play has been exceptionally intense, protecting your most valuable asset should have been the ultimate priority. Instead, decision-makers now find themselves in a disastrous position where the biggest box office draw in women's sports history could miss a significant chunk of the regular season. From a pure business perspective, this situation is an absolute nightmare. The WNBA was finally building legitimate mainstream momentum. Rights holders were negotiating improved broadcast agreements, major media networks were providing consistent coverage, and corporate sponsor interest was reaching historic highs. Caitlin Clark's broad cultural appeal and unique ability to draw in casual sports fans who never previously watched women's basketball served as the foundation for that entire economic surge. Casual viewers do not hold deep multi-year loyalties to other franchises or roster players. They will not tune in to watch a random matchup between Washington and Chicago simply for the love of the game. A specific, transcendent athlete drew them into the WNBA sphere, and without that person active on the court, their interest vanishes overnight. That isn't meant as a knock against the talented athletes across the league, it is simply how superstar economics function across all professional sports. The financial fallout is going to hit hardest at the gate. Moving a scheduled game from a standard 7,000-seat home gym into a massive 20,000-seat arena carries substantial financial risk, acceptable only under the expectation that overwhelming ticket demand will cover the overhead. Front offices didn't greenlight these venue changes just to break even, they budgeted for premium ticket prices and packed houses. Today, those same executives are facing the prospect of playing inside half-empty arenas. The visual presentation alone will look terrible, especially considering the added logistical costs tied to venue upgrades. When national broadcasts display thousands of empty seats inside arenas that were supposed to be sold out, network executives and corporate sponsors take notice, and that visual can directly impact future media rights negotiations and brand partnerships. What makes this situation so frustrating for fans is that it was completely self-inflicted. The WNBA was presented with a golden opportunity to ride the wave of Clark's historic popularity while simultaneously introducing millions of new fans to the rest of the league. Instead, decision-makers often treated her success like an inconvenient distraction rather than a rising tide. There was an eerie hesitation to fully back everything she brought to the table, and the intense fan backlash we are seeing today is the direct result of that approach. You cannot spend months subtly downplaying a superstar's impact and then feel surprised when fans choose to walk away the moment that player goes down. Some critics argue that boycotting games while Clark heals is dramatic, contending that fans ought to support the broader league regardless. But that argument entirely misses the point. These new viewers didn't start out as general WNBA fans who happened to discover Caitlin Clark, they came in specifically as Caitlin Clark fans who gave the WNBA a chance. There is a massive distinction between those two groups. The league had a prime window to cultivate those dedicated Clark followers into long-term supporters of the sport, but doing so required a genuine effort to welcome them. Instead, executive leadership seemed to assume that once eyeballs arrived, people would automatically become fans of the entire product. That simply isn't how fandom works with casual audiences. The economic hit won't be limited to ticket sales and TV ratings either. Official merchandise sales will inevitably dip, corporate sponsorship activations become far less lucrative without her on the floor, and mainstream media coverage will naturally pull back without Clark's storylines to report on. Every single metric across the league's revenue engine will feel the ripple effect. The most tragic element of this whole scenario is that it could have been managed far better. Proper load management, proactive injury prevention protocols, and resisting the urge to hurry her back from early quad soreness could have preserved her health. However, the immense financial pressure to maximize her availability likely pushed short-term revenue goals ahead of long-term health management. Occurring at such a pivotal moment in the league's growth trajectory makes this setback feel particularly costly. The WNBA had achieved real mainstream relevance, but sustaining momentum requires consistency. When your centerpiece star is sidelined, casual viewers won't wait around, they will simply flip the channel to something else. It will be fascinating to observe how the front office navigates the upcoming weeks. Will they finally acknowledge the reality of Clark's massive economic footprint, or will they stick to the claim that no individual player dictates the league's success? The incoming attendance figures and broadcast ratings will make that latter argument nearly impossible to maintain. Ironically, after spending months trying to prove that the league's growth wasn't dependent on one person, the WNBA now gets to test that theory in real time. The problem is that every early metric indicates the outcome is going to be painful. This boycott movement isn't just about a physical injury, it is a direct statement from fans who feel the athlete responsible for bringing them to the sport was never properly valued by the institution. Combined with the reality that many viewers tune in strictly for her, the league is heading straight into a harsh crash course on star economics. Empty seats and falling ratings will send an unmistakable message about who truly drives the bottom line. What are your thoughts on this entire situation? Drop your opinions in the comments section below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to WNBA Core for more in-depth sports breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.